just clasp like this, and it, like a prayer, but it's more of like a clasp, and I have the left thumb over the right here at the heart, kind of like, I call it, what is it called, there's the little, it's like called little, the prayer people, um, the little prayer people, right? They kind of look like, like this. And we're going to use this mantra, and what you're going to do, this is going to be a journey, right? You as a woman, pregnant, or conscious conception pursued, or you're on your menstrual cycle. Again, even after I did that whole thymus, I feel like less bloated, right? Because I'm on my menstrual cycle right now, so perfect time to share with you guys this Kriya, right? So I feel less bloated, and I also just feel like I'm bleeding more. But the bleeding, actually, it feels more of like cleansing rather than like clumpy, or a lot of women, they when they bleed, it's like painful, or it's very clumpy, or it just feels like it's kind of hurting, like it's not, it's trapped, or it's stagnant. I feel like I'm bleeding, but it's more of like, it more feels like I'm being flushed rather than it's clumpy, and it kind of hurts, and it kind of feels like I'm, like it's stagnant, right? So it creates more of sort of like a circulation in the sort of womb, just working with the thymus and working with the circulation of the breast and the opening of the lymphatic system. It even creates this sort of opening in this whole reproductive system as a woman, especially when you're on your menstrual cycle, where you can really bleed, and you can bleed a lot, but it feels more like you're being cleansed, right? Rather than, it hurts, it's clumpy, right? In the way that it just feels like it's really stagnant blood, or it's like swampy blood, right? It feels more of like, okay, like I'm just being washed. It feels more of being washed inside out, right? Being washed inside my womb, right? And that lymphatic system connects to the womb, right? And it gives you that flush, that feeling of, okay, I'm bleeding, but I also feel like I'm being clean, almost like somebody's in my womb, or, not somebody, but, there, something's going on in my womb where I feel like it's cleaning my womb out, like it's clearing out and making my womb as fresh and clean as possible, even though you don't feel clean when you're on your period, right? But that lymphatic system, when it is really flushing, it does really give you that feeling of clean, like I'm cleaning out the inner womb, right? And removing the dead cells, because the womb can carry dead cells, right? As we know, right? When your period, when the egg, right, basically undergoes a death, right? It's dying. So it's really about clearing out the dead cells, right? Not just in your womb, your reproductive system, clearing out dead cells, but it's also about clearing out dead cells within other areas, like dead chi, dead emotional weight. So when you're in your period, your hormone, you tend to cry sometimes, right? Or you tend to feel anxious. You have like a psychomagnetic cleanse, where you feel like the dead energy in your psyche, or the dead energy in your mental body, your radiant body, your negative mind, right? All of these things, the dead energy, the dead chi, the dead cells, right? The dead atoms, I like to say, in your aura, everywhere, is being, literally, it's being harnessed, being pulled together in the womb, and then it's being cleaned out through the blood of the period, right? So it's quite interesting. So when you cry as a woman, it's encouraged to cry when you're bleeding, right? Because it means you're clearing out some dead cells, some dead energy, right? Dead emotion, right? And you're flushing it through. Right? Even mental, like if you have some thoughts that come up, like memories or something, like let it come up, because it means that it's cleaning you out. It's taking this dead energy, that dead cell, the dead chi, and it is harnessing it. It's concentrating it at the womb, because when you're bleeding, it's concentrating all your energy to the womb, right? Mentally, emotionally, as a woman, all your energy when you're on your menstrual cycle goes to your womb. It basically concentrates your entire day, right, or days towards the womb and the whole process of what's happening in the womb, because it's actually quite a lot. A menstrual cycle is a lot is going on for a woman. It's not, just bleeding, I'm just going to keep pushing like it's a regular day, right? It's a lot going on, and a lot of your energy, that's why we're tired, is because a lot of your energy is being put to what's going on in your womb, right? Your reproductive system as a woman, right? So what that means is that as a woman, we tend to be more transformative than men, meaning we experience a lot of spiritual, we have a lot of mystical experiences as women. We have a lot of spiritual experiences as women, more so than men, because of our menstrual cycle. That menstrual cycle basically is an opening in our, it opens up our spiritual realm, and in that spiritual realm we have dead energy, right? And the period, the blood is simply like this force, like this fire that kind of, it cleans you out. It cleans out the psychic debris or the psychic waste or the mental, emotional sort of dead energy that's just kind of lingering around. And that's what makes us very, as women, very exuberant and highly creative, is because when you clear out the debris, right, in your emotional psyche, your aura, what happens after that is you, new energy comes in. So as women, we tend to have a lot of new energy, and men are like, why do these women always have new energy? Like, why, they're always changing. There's always something different. Like, I just can't figure them out. Like, they're doing something new now, right? They're expressing something new. They've had another spiritual sort of, experience. Like, this woman is creative in beyond measure, and she just keeps having these new creative experiences. It's because when you remove psyche, dead energy, dead cells, new energy takes its place. But with men, since they don't have that sort of major kind of experience, right? They don't have, menstrual cycle, is that men, they don't, they can have that, they have cleanse, spiritual cleanse, where they, the dead cell, the dead memories, the dead relationships, the dead thoughts, the dead physical things, like, they can clean that out and they can purge it, but it's not as intense for a man that it is for a woman. Unless, you got like a lot of, Scorpio or something going on in you, right? That represents Pluto, which is, you're going to have a lot of transformational experiences of purging and being brand new kind of thing, rebirth. But a lot of men, they don't have that sort of constant rebirth cycle, right? For a lot of men, their rebirth is like in their chronology, meaning, like, man reaches, like, his midlife crisis. That's when he has a major intense rebirth, right, of who he is. His whole identity is cracked down and brought into something new, right? Or when he's in his Saturn return in his late 20s, early 30s, right, from like 28 to like 35, 36, man is basically rebirth. He's cracked down, he's broken down, he's deconstructed, he's having a spiritual awakening, kind of thing, right? And usually for a man, that's when they have these rebirth kind of experiences where it feels like they're being spiritually enhanced or spiritually purged, or a lot of emotions or thoughts are coming up, and that there's just a lot of sort of mystical experiences, like psychic experiences for a man that they don't understand. And men have it, they do have it, but they don't have as much as a woman. A woman has it every single month of that she's in her time of menstrual time, right? So she has it every month, where she goes through an intense period of spiritual growth, right, inside and out, right? She has like every month, or she is basically being deconstructed. She's being all the dead energy within her in every area of her life, emotional, mental, physical, radiant body, and body, the negative mind, all of that's considered dead energy, like, that doesn't, it's just kind of sitting there in a trench or like plaque. It just kind of is all, it's all forced to leave, right, through the womb, right, through the reproductive system, through the blood, right? And as a woman, that's what makes us more very creative and mysterious to men, because they don't understand, like, how we're always so different, and how we're always changing our mind, and we're always on an adventure inside of ourselves, and we're always wanting to try new things. And there's just this sense of, like, we can't keep up with women, right? Men are like, I can't keep up with her, like, she's on another thing and I'm like still back here, like, she's on something else now, right? It's like, how do I keep up with her, right? It's because we have that period that gives us a deep cleanse. And when you are cleansed of this dead energy, naturally you're going to be a lot more enthusiastic. You're going to have a lot more energy and creativity when you don't have all this dead stuff around you, right? But if you just have a lot of emotional dead relationships, dead memories, you got mental dead stuff, you got, you got the sinkhole in your mind, you got, the dead in your physical, your sacral energy, you got all this dead sort of sexual energy and these sexual ties, all these people. Naturally, you're going to feel sluggish. You're not going to feel as creative as if like a woman, and you have that thing about you that you can purge it all out very quickly within 3-4 days, 5 days. As a woman, within basically a week, a woman has the opportunity through intention, through this practice we've created, to actually purge a lot. She can actually go to the dead cell, the dead memory, the dead relationship, the emotional dead, whatever, the psycho, the dead sexual energy, and she can clear it all out. She can be like, let it all come out through the blood of her menstrual cycle, right? And that's what makes a woman quite magical, right, and mystical and mysterious. And every man will say a wise woman, a high priestess, a goddess is very mystical, is very mysterious. And men are like, I can't keep up with that. Like, what is she doing? Like, it's very alluring what women do in their their practices of being a woman, right? Because men, they don't have that. They don't have that sort of mystical, mysterious, magical experience with their own body. They do through sex. Men have that magical, mysterious, mystic, spiritual opening of the psychic realms, right, kind of thing, when they have sex. But it's not the same thing as when you're on a menstrual cycle. It's not the same thing, right? So men, they experience like a mystery about, intimacy and connection when they have sex. And that's what they get. They get kind of a, feeling of that, connecting with, something very transformative, right? Like when they get somebody pregnant, these kinds of things are very transformative for a man in their whole spiritual development. When they have sex, is very, eye-opening for them. But it's different, like when we have a period or menstrual cycle, that is it's a deeper sort of spiritual and psychic cleanse. It's a lot of a deeper experience than intercourse, and it can't even compare to intercourse, because that menstrual cycle is, the purpose of it in the heat of it is really to keep us as women as high creative as possible. Because we women represent the fifth dimension. We represent a high level of creativity, a high level of fertility, a high level of intelligence. In order to keep that status, that high ranking status of creativity, we have to go through monthly purges of anything that we might have collected and stored within our emotions, within our psyche, within our aura, anything within our sexual energy and our negative mind, right? So a lot of times on our menstrual cycle, it's brought up. A lot of these grievances, these memories, these relationships, these traumas are brought up when we're about to, go in to the menstrual cycle, the period of deep introspection and self-psychology and self-care, right? Because really it's these energies, these dead energies or dead experiences really want to be removed. They want to be released. But a lot of times we can hold on to them, right? When we don't know how to flush it, right? We hold on and we hold on. And sometimes it can take multiple menstrual cycles to really purge it out. Not just one, but multiple, depending on how heavy that was of an experience on our psyche. How heavy that trauma is in our whole, and how deeply rooted it is. Like if it's something deeply rooted from childhood, like 5 years old, you bet it will take a lot of awareness during the menstrual cycle of like, I'm releasing, and practices that help you to better flush, like the whole lymphatic and thyroid sort of cleanse, right? So men, they are all about sex, right? Men are all, I mean, not all of them, but men are about sex. Let's just be honest. They're all about sex is because they want to experience what women do. They want to experience something magical, something mystical, something, mysterious, because they want to experience their own, their own psychic energy. They want to experience their own spirituality. They want to let go of things. They want to purge, right? And they're curious about sex because they know that is like a portal towards a man's transformation, right? But unfortunately, in our sort of culture of sex, that it doesn't really do that for men, and that's why men keep doing it and keep looking for a woman a woman who can give him that, right? And a lot of men are not satisfied because the women are not giving that to them, right? Because the sexual exchange is not even an exchange of clean energy. A lot of the exchange we have is like a dump ground, right? Where Yogi Bhajan has said, he calls our sex, he says our sex won't even be remembered in the Akashic record of human sexuality because it's so blah, it's so numb, and he calls it a mop in a bucket, right? Where a lot of us, like that sexual exchange, that transference of sexual energy, it's really like it's almost like a dump ground, right? Where we have all this built up debris, they have all this built up debris, and we're just kind of transferring it back and forth with each other until we get fed up with the sex, until we're like, okay, this isn't what I want. Like, we're grossed out, or we just like, we kind of look at that person like hate, lust turns to hate kind of thing. Or we look at ourselves as like, we feel like, oh, like we feel such low, right? Or such low self-worth. And that's really what not sex is not about. Oh, I feel low about myself, or I feel guilty, or I feel ashamed, or I feel embarrassed. It shouldn't really be about that. It should be about pleasure and relaxation and joy and connection, right? But the reason it makes us feel like crap, or some of us, not all of us, or we feel low, or it feels draining, or it feels like we're transferring like just negative energy back and forth with each other, is because really we're not, we don't know how to have a sexual experience that is very kindred and endearing and soulful. We don't know what that means. We don't know how to have that, right? We just know the whole, I'm feeling the horny, let me get somebody to do it with me kind of thing. Or I feel hormonal, I want to have a baby, so I'll find somebody who will do that for me, right? And it always makes us feel a little bit unsatisfied, because we may get the baby, or we may get the one night stand, or whatever, that hot girl with the big ass, whatever we are putting fantasy in our head, but it's never satisfying because we don't get what we truly want as a man or woman, which is we really want to experience pleasure that is joyful, that is relaxing, and that really brings more of who we are, where we feel more connected to our radiance and our beauty, not less connected, where we start to feel more ashamed and all these kinds of emotions, right? We want to feel more beautiful through it, right? Not less, and feel intoxicated and kind of low about ourselves, right? So men, they try to, sex to them is the high prize. And that's why at the end of the day, men can make all the money in the world, but they always go back to a desire for, some sort of, a spiritual transformation, either 55, 85, we always go back to, like, I want to have a spiritual transformation, or in some form of death, right? Where I can, like, let this dead energy, these dead memories, these dead relationships, just this dead energy that's making me slow, sluggish, stagnant, ruts, and just making me feel really earthbound and just heavy and like like heavy kind of thing, because we know, like, we are meant to experience spiritual growth, and we, men as women, we are all about that, because that's who we are. Every month we are all about that spiritual growth, because that's what everything is, the womb is about. That's everything what a woman is about. And men, they a lot of them, they don't have that sort of depth within their own physiology, their physiology, because they don't have, right, the menstrual cycle, right? So a lot of their sort of spiritual development is, I say for a woman, it's almost like, for women, we have immense sort of spiritual growth, we could say, right? While men, they have that, but not as much as the sort of magnitude that a woman has, right? When she's really beginning to connect with her femininity and embrace that kind of side. When she's ignoring it, when she cages it, it's going to be like a major disconnect and a major resistance that will be very painful for a woman, that will not be very comfortable, and the death cycle that she goes through will actually feel like a war or a battle inside of herself that will be very, very exhausting. But when she embraces that femininity and she kind of goes with it, it can actually be very transformative. It can really clear out a lot of things, heal a lot of things, repair and restore a lot of things about a woman's, her expansiveness that she is, right? And when a man connects with such a woman who is, expansive in her femininity and expansive in just her psychic energy, her psychic realm is very clear, and there's a lot of beauty to this woman, right? Because her authenticity, she's really, going deep into the fearlessness of her womb, right? That the deep sort of, psychic realm. When a man experiences that kind of woman, it's different, right? When a woman really loves herself, it's a different experience, and men will tell. When she doesn't love herself, it's not a very deep experience. It doesn't go deep. It's kind of like, okay, I penetrate, but I find that there really isn't anything there for me, right? So really, the depth of a man's heart really is the depth of a woman's body, and how deep she is within her own poetic justice, I'll say, right? That she's cultivating through her, her expansive femininity. Because like I always say, like, woman is Jupiter and man is Saturn, right? I say that, right? Woman is a Jupiter teacher, right? And Jupiter is the most expansive magnetic planet. Everybody wants Jupiter. Everybody wants Jupiter. I want the prosperity of Jupiter, right? I want the greatness of Jupiter. I want the creativity of Jupiter. Everybody wants Jupiter, right? And that's what a woman, we're meant to vibrate like Jupiter in our womb. And men, being the Saturn, they're like really into, they're like, oh yes, I want some Jupiter too. Like, give me some of that sort of, that sort of spiritual, that sort of spiritual depth, right, of creativity and poetry and culture and artistry and just self-love, right? That's more sexy than, you have a physical appearance, but then inside there really isn't an experience to be had with you, because you don't love yourself, so therefore you're incomplete, you're not full, you're an empty cup, right? You're always triggered, you're always unrattled, you're always uneasy, right? As a woman, that's what we become. We're always uneasy, we're always, unstable, restless, imbalanced, emotionally, commotional, reactive, when we don't really fill up that cup with our own creative, oomph, right? So when we have that creative oomph and we share that with a man in sex, he's like completely, that is a very rewarding experience. It's very rewarding, right? It's something that's a prize to him, right? And every man would say, yeah, I would love to have that kind of experience, right? And us as a woman, when we really do feel very comfortable in our womb, and this is why we're doing this practice, to feel comfortable in our womb and our reproductive system, we're more comfortable with our sexuality, we're more comfortable in our hips, more comfortable in our body, or we know how to work with our hormones to find that balance, right? We know how to work with the brain chemistry, we know how to work with the lymphatic system, the thyroid, the glandular system. When we're really connected to our reproductive system, in that womb area, we tend to be, as women, sensitive, empathetic to ourselves, but in a way where we have more awareness, we understand ourselves and our physical body. So when we do feel hormonally imbalanced, we don't go crazy. When we feel chemically imbalanced, we're not going crazy, because we know when we get in that reproductive system of that womb, that energy of femininity, we have greater understanding, right, on how to find that sort of stability within ourselves, to find that security, that safety, that balance, right? And it becomes a quite exciting journey that we have. But when we have no connection to a reproductive system, we get hormonally imbalanced, chemically imbalanced. We feel insecure in so many ways, unsafe, unstable, and we just get really, really like crazy about it, right? We just get really crazy. You see women who, they're just crazy, right? When they don't have that connection to the reproductive system. They may be able to complete tasks and go to work and have a job and have kids and a husband and sex and stuff, but it's unnerving. It's uneasy for them. Like, it's not really relaxing or enjoyable. It's kind of like like a whirlwind, like just like storm going on, right, inside of a woman, right, where they don't understand what's going on, and they're jealous, or they're competitive, or they have all these sort of inner phobias that come up when they don't feel stable, or when they don't feel easygoing. So really, that reproductive system helps us as a woman. Either we're pregnant, either we're menstruating, either we're just, just relaxing right now. It really helps us. The more we're connected with our reproductive system, the more that we can better find stability, balance, and sense of security and safety in us as a woman. So we feel more anchored, right? We feel more grounded, and therefore we have a strength. We have an inner, call it inner strength, or inner beauty, right? So as women, we're not so easily inclined to get in these sort of jealousy traps or competitive traps, or all these sort of unnatural conditions that we women take on, like where we're attacking other women, and we're attacking ourselves, and we're jealous of all these things. We have to be fake, and we have to be superficial, and we have to we have to destroy ourselves as women. We have to attack ourselves, so much so that really there's nothing left of us as a woman except our flesh, right? And that really is the most sort of the most dissatisfying thing, right? To have to maintain this sort of whatever it is that is very unnatural for us, that really doesn't give us what we truly want, which is we really want to be creative, and we really want that to be who we are, not the whatever it is that we do to get attention. We really want our creativity to be our applaud, or whatever, or the attention. We want the intention on us as a woman to be on our creativity, right? Our spirituality, our femininity, not on our big ass, not on all these things that we do as a way to kind of cope with the fact that we are very uneasy, or we don't feel very safe in our reproductive system, in our expression of what it means to be a woman. We don't feel safe with it. So we kind of cope with that feeling unsafe as a woman with trying to get attention elsewhere. Right? When you do that sort of, I'll just go with the fake butt stuff. When you do that sort of fake butt stuff, basically you're wanting to draw people's attention towards something that isn't your creativity. But as a woman, you want man's attention and a woman's attention, children's attention, whoever's attention, to be on your creativity. But when you do it, it's like you're trying to distract people, right? Or when we do these, where we're always, loud and want drama, and always look at me, and the talking all day. It's like we want attention on distraction. Because when we're really in that sort of reproductive system of that womb, really our greatest recognition that we could receive from a man or a woman is, wow, your creativity, wow, your spirituality, wow, your divinity, wow, your femininity, wow, your beauty, right? Your inner beauty, like your intelligence is like, whoa, that's what we really want as a woman, right? And that's why we have all these kind of sort of agitations between man and woman, because man is drawn to a woman's distraction, such as these things that she presents to kind of cope with the fact that inside she's very, very unstable and unsafe. She doesn't feel safe being in her own body, in her own physical life, right? And then he's drawn into the distraction, and then he kind of dances with her distractions, and then he's unsatisfied because the distraction doesn't give him what he wants, which is he wants to have a deeper experience of his own connection to, right, sexuality and spirituality, and his own connection to his heart and soul. And when that distraction doesn't really give him a heart and soul, he's like, okay, like, I guess I dump this person, or we end it, right? That kind of thing. And again, when a woman, like, it is a woman's journey with that reproductive system, with her own femininity, is really the number one thing a man's waiting for. Right? When he says, I'm waiting for the right woman, or waiting for, my ex-partner to, for her to do whatever. It's really, I'm waiting for her to be safe in her own femininity. I'm waiting for her to feel good with being a woman, right? Because, a man can know when a woman's not, he can sense it, he can smell it, like, really, basically, when a woman isn't really safe or comfortable or really secure in her own femininity, right? He can see it when they have sex. He can feel it, that she's not very comfortable with her reproductive system because the sex is not as deep, and he can't penetrate her as deeply as he would like, because she's not as receptive as he needs her to be, because maybe her heart's closed because she had a trauma at 5. Maybe her arc line is closed, right? Because she hasn't been working on, like, visualization and, projecting her energy out and being beautiful and showing up for the world, right? Her sexual energy could be blocked or closed, right? Because let's say she's had, sexual partners in the past that really, really belittled her or really made her feel more, unsafe, right? So again, when a man experiences sex with a woman and she has these sort of blockages in her, he can feel it because he's penetrating her, and he's penetrating her not just her vagina, but her as a person and who she is as a woman. And he can feel, like, her pain, and he can feel her emotional, things, and the unresolved things, and the uneasy and the instability and the hormonal things. He could feel that. And really, a man is like, I'm waiting for you as a woman to, go on that journey with yourself as a woman, and learn about your reproductive system, and learn about your womb. Either you're pregnant or not pregnant, never want to have kids, whatever, so that you can really get to know how you as a woman can find that safety, find that comfort, find that emotional balance, that emotional ease, right? Find that sort of groundedness as a woman, right? Where you feel really creative, and your creativity is everything that you are. And when I look at you as a man, it's the creativity of you I'm drawn to. It's the self-expression, it's the freedom, it's the intelligence I'm drawn into as a woman, because when you really get into that womanhood, right, when you really love that womanhood that you are and really go deep with that and have a community of that, you really start to come into the fruition, right, the fullness of woman, which is, as a woman, I'm meant to be higher creativity than man. I'm meant to have high creativity, a high intuition, a high intelligence, right? And that's a journey we have, and men, they, it's hard to have that journey when we're sort of trying to have a boy, or not a boy, a man or a boyfriend, right? Sometimes in order for us to women, we do have to be alone or have those periods of solitude in a relationship, or a period of, a safe space where we can really do that work. Because really, it's always recommended us as women to go through that journey before we start having sex or start, dating, or, doing that boy thing, just so we can really start to, really fulfill that womanhood in us. Because doing that when we have a partner, a man or something, it can be, a lot of energy is not, it can be kind of hard for us as women, right? Especially if we're young, and especially if we're really imbalanced already and we're now trying to have a boyfriend around, right? So, and then we can get caught in codependency, where we're attached and we're psychically attached. There are people, women, men, who are psychically attached to each other, where, you could feel it as a man or a woman, that this person wants something from me, this person's attached to me, this person's waiting on me, this person is yearning for me, this person, wants me to be what they think I should be for them. And it's not very, like, does it make you feel happy? No, it just feels kind of like, it just makes you feel like you have more weight to you, right? You have more weight when you have these ties to people that you're not ready to have. You're not ready to have these ties, right? Because you know that you're not ready, right? Because you as a woman, or you as a man, haven't even gone through your own womanhood, your own manhood. Because boys and girls are not meant to have ties. They're meant to be free. Right? Right? They're meant to be free. Let's just be honest. They're not meant to be working at 14. They're meant to be free. Right? They're meant to be free. Right? And the adults that don't allow them to be free, that push them into sex, or to, push them out of the house, or push them to do work in a way that's not freeing or educational for them, more enslaving. That's not what a boy or girl is meant to do. They're meant to be free. They're meant to be free to explore, right? Because that's going to set them, that's their time to go into the sort of crevice of their womanhood and their manhood, right? But when we're creating ties really, really young, and we're boys and girls, and then we're tied to people, and we're still like a boy mentality or a girl mentality, those ties, all it does is it just creates more weight, right? More weight to who we are. But we don't even know how to even find balance and security and safety in ourselves, let alone trying to find safety and balance in ties with other people that we've created through sex or through whatever ways. It's just like, well, I don't even know how to balance myself, let alone try to balance this out, right? So that's why it's important, especially for us as women, because we begin a relationship and we end a relationship, not men. They can play games with us all day long and say that you need me as a man. But no, it's us as women, because we're the creativity of a relationship. We're the passion, the excitement. Because when our energy's open, when our energy's free flowing, when we've really come into that sort of fulfillment of our womanhood, sex a man has with us it's so deep. Because not only is it like the feeling of the body of the woman, but the feeling of the heart and the emotions and the feeling of the aura and the feeling of the just the balance of a woman. And that's what's really, really exciting, to have feel the balance. There's nothing exciting about having sex with a woman who's really imbalanced. There's nothing exciting. All it does is makes him more imbalanced, and then makes her feel more insecure, right? He's imbalanced, right, because of her imbalance, and then she's more insecure because she can feel like he's more imbalanced, right? Their sex isn't bringing balance, it's bringing more imbalance to both of them, spiritually, psychically, mentally, emotionally, right? Right? So as a woman, like, we can find that when you're grounded, you have this sort of aura that's very curative, this radiance and this beauty that's very solid, right? You have this flow, you have this freedom as a woman, right? This freedom. You can't, there's no freedom when we don't feel comfortable or safe, or we don't feel balanced or stable, or we don't really feel like we're really connected or sensitive or intuitive or creative, right? We feel kind of our body is blah and our mind's blah, and we feel bored by that. And then a relationship can't fill in the void, because a man is not looking, he's looking for his own, to deeper access to his heart and soul. And if as a woman we don't even have any poetic justice within our own life, we don't really have much heart and soul to offer, because it's really that fulfilling of that womanhood that brings up this heart and soul about us that men are like, they would sing to. They're really giddy about, and they're excited because they know, like, the woman's heart and soul is the key to his heart and soul, right? And he knows that, right? No matter how much money he makes, he knows that at the end of the day, right? If he wants higher creativity and not just, he wants a higher, creativity, or what we call a more royal experience of his body and his mind and his soul, it's really, it's that femininity that it draws, that really unlocks that energy. And that doesn't have to be through sex or relationship. It can be a man who's taking up a yogic practice. That's a feminine thing, right? Because it's about, really fulfilling that sort of spiritual, transformation, having that spiritual awakening or transformation, right? It could be him, devoting himself to a teacher of herbalism, or a meditation. That's all femininity, right? So it doesn't have to be through intercourse with a woman, sex, whatever. It could just be through him going to a teacher, or going to a Buddhist community, and just really developing his heart and soul through the sound current of the woman, the mom, the mother. In the mother, when you're in that sort of current of the mother, it's about finding your home within yourself, finding your balance, finding your security, finding your stability, feeling safe and comfortable while you're here on earth. And not just feeling safe and comfortable, but really feeling creative, and really feeling like your chakras are aligned, and you're feeling really receptive, and you have pleasure in a way that it brings you this peace, right? So that's just what I wanted to share with you guys. We'll just do the meditation now, right? Now that we got that out. So this meditation is Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. So if you're pregnant, just focus on the soul, the energy coming into the fetus, right? Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Ek Onkar Sat Guru Prasad, Sat Guru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Inhale. Press the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Exhale. Rub the hands together in prayer. We're going to close out with one long Sat Nam. Press the hands. Prayer at the heart. Inhale. Sat Nam. So I want to talk about, just briefly, the kind of the soul coming into the fetus. So I've said this before in other readings. So The soul comes in through the soft spot on the top of the head. Now, as adults, we know we don't have a soft spot on the top of the head, right? So what that means, right, is the 10th gate, right? Children have the soft spot on the top of the head because they are basically in the 10th gate mostly. That's why mostly kids are sleeping, right? Babies are just sleeping all day because the majority of their time is in the 10th gate, which is in the spiritual realm, basically. Right, and in the 10th gate is where we travel through like a tunnel. The 10th gate is always seen as a tunnel. Even when people die, they go through this sort of white tunnel. They're in this white space that kind of feels like it's they're moving like kind of like at a speed of consciousness, or there's like a door and it opens, right, and they're in another dimension, a higher dimension. The 10th gate, you see it like 2 feet above the head. It's above the crown chakra, and basically it's seen as this white sun. It's seen as a white sun, and also can be seen as like a tunnel or a doorway, or basically the soul, right, of the child comes through the 10th gate, comes again through the spot at the top of the head, right, and it comes into the woman's nervous system. It comes into the nervous system, and that's when it begins to take on a physical, it begins to take on the energetics for its physical self, right? We'll say that. Comes into the woman's nervous system, and then it kind of travels in through the umbilical cord into the body, the fetus, right? The fetus. And that's why we talk about a woman's nervous system being very important, that she has a good nervous system, because the energetics of the nervous system becomes the child's nervous system. So a lot of the anxiousness, a lot of the sort of imbalances in a woman's nervous system becomes the anxiousness imbalances in a child's nervous system. So when a woman has, and this is before pregnancy, this is the nervous system of the woman, it doesn't really change when she's, when she's pregnant, right? It's kind of the nervous system of the woman is something that it's almost like a habit you've had for years, right? Your nervous system identity really shows the world how strong you are, right? What you can take emotionally, mentally, and psychologically, right? Your nervous system. Because when you get a blow, right, and it's usually the shock, we talk about what the shock that helps you to kind of bounce back is your nervous system. So when you get a blow emotionally, psychologically, mentally, it's the nervous system that's able to take the shock, right? Just like when you get in a car accident, your body begins to absorb the shock and tries its best to not absorb it in a way that's going to damage you, right? So the shock is the nervous system, right? The shock, right? So the stronger the nervous system is, the more able we are to handle the shock, right? So we don't get damaged by it. Like the shock of emotions, and the shock of mental, and the shock of change, and the shock of death and rebirth that happens all the time. The shock of crises that always is, right? The challenges, the responsibilities that we have, obligations, the major changes we have in our life. The nervous system of a woman, it really showcases how much they can take, how much they can handle. So when we have a weak nervous system, we can't handle a lot. We're shocked by a lot of things. Even just looking at the news, we're like, whoa, right? In a way that we feel damaged or we feel drained, right? But when we move, sort of strengthen our nervous system, that's what's called a warrior practice, basically. We start to feel more grounded, and it's really the groundedness of a woman and her earth power. Her, being, when you're grounded, the earth power as a woman is just simply, you feel very, very secure in your womanhood. You don't need to do these distractions. You don't need to be fake. You don't need to have, you don't need to do these sort of extra things to get what you want, right? When you're really grounded in your woman as a woman, your creativity is your great excellence. And a child, and that shows how excellent you feel in your nervous system. So a child kind of comes into the nervous system of a woman and kind of picks up all that. It gets the download, it picks up all of that, those patterning of the nervous system, right? So if we're a woman and we have a nervous system where, right, we feel we're in these relationships, or have these sort of inner dialogue, or have this, these self-image that is that's very damaging to us, right? Damaging to our creativity, very draining. It dulls us. You bet a child will pick that up. These habits, behaviors that we have in our nervous system, and the way that we relate to ourselves and other people. And a woman, she goes two ways. She's either really creative or she can be really destructive, right? There really is no in between, right? Creative, when you're a destroyer as a woman in your creative self, it's more so you're destroying the all these things, these habits, behaviors that really belittle you as a woman. And we belittle ourselves big time as a woman. We belittle ourselves so much by these whatever fake noses, whatever big butts, whatever this sort of thing that we do to distract people. We want to distract people so that they don't see what's really going on within us, that we don't feel creatively fulfilled, right? We don't have higher intelligence. We haven't even came into our womanhood. We're still a girl at 30, 55, right? Where we don't really feel grounded or connected to the earth or own sensitivity or intuition, right? We don't really feel magical or a manifester, right? We belittle ourselves, and we manifest relationships, or we attract relationships that belittle us, right? So when we feel more grounded as a woman, everything about a woman environment and the community she creates in the home and the relationships she's have, it's really that she creates through her own vision and her own participation and her own driving force, is really about fulfilling a desire that she has, because the woman's desire that she has, the ultimate desire, is to create and to create more, right? And to create more, right? And to experience more creativity, right? So a child will come into that, and a child will know, okay, is this woman creative or this woman destructive, right? Destructive, a woman is feeling very, very incomplete, and no man can make a woman feel complete either. No man can do that for her, right? No man. It's her and her womanhood, basically her in connection with her vagina, that makes her feel complete. And a man basically she gets to experience greater intimacy with herself, and greater intimacy with what it means to extend that out and to give and to receive. But really, ultimately, the reciprocity a woman creates just within her own feeling really, really sexual and sensual and creative within her own self, it shows up when a kid comes in, and it shows up when a kid is born, right? How relaxed a child is really shows how relaxed a woman is with her own life, right? When we're not relaxed as a woman, our kid is not relaxed, right? When we don't feel as a woman that we're really grounded, that we're always having this imbalance going on within us, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, again, we're not as connected to the earth, and therefore there's not this deep relaxation that we could have. Like, women were meant to experience this deep relaxation, and a lot of us, we don't experience that because we act like men. Like, there's something to get, and we have to do this, that, and the other, and this kind of thing, that we never relax, right? We have to learn not just relax as in sleeping. We need to know how to relax, like in meditation, how to relax in a spiritual bath, how to relax in yoga, how to deeply relax in nature, how to relax through making pottery or poetry, because that will really bring into our nervous system this ability to be very grounded, right? And a warrior is very grounded, and a warrior is a nervous system that is very quiet, like kind of like a jaguar, or Black Panther kind of in the trees, very quiet, but very, very purposeful, right? It's like quiet, but very, very clever, right? And that's a warrior's nervous system, to have that sort of, you're very relaxed, you don't need to make noises and cans and all this stuff, but you have this sort of ability to get what you want in a way that's very, very quiet, right? And that's kind of like a woman, that's kind of like the warrior, right? And having that creativity show up. You show up for that creativity, it'll show up for you in the way it will lead you to the right place at the right time for you as a woman. To just simply you being there, it creates a sort of space, your aura, this space and the environment for you to really be received, right? Because there's nothing more, again, interesting, captivating in a woman, right, who comes into an environment. Her aura, like, literally creates a shift in the environment, and all of a sudden, like, this woman can be received, and that the freedom of that woman is the most kind of sort of quiet, calm thing, but the most kind of like penetrative thing. Right? She's not even like making loud noises. She's not talking. It's just she's most penetrative, because that groundedness, being deeply connected to the earth and to her womb and her own sensuality, sexuality in such a subtle way, that subtlety that she projects out happens to be the most penetrative thing in the room, because it has this sort of grit and it has this sort of strength to it that the noisy, sort of chatty women, girls that we do, it doesn't have. There's depth to it. There's depth to that subtle, sort of calm, penetrative that the loud, obnoxious sort of energies don't have, because it's deeply sort of participating in the earth, while the sort of shallow stuff it's kind of in a sort of temporary state that is not very consistent, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Sat Nam.